Hello and welcome back to This Is Me, but it's all about you, the podcast by myself, Tina Willis. So today I want to start with a question, guys. What if the only thing standing between you and the life you want is a thought? Okay, just that one thought, not your age, not your circumstances, not your education or your bank balance, not your past, but just a thought. Because if I asked you right now why you haven't started the thing that you've been thinking about, the business, the book, the new career, the dream, the adventure, what would you tell me? Okay. Most people would say things like, I'm too old. I've left it far too late to change my life. I'm not confident enough. Never have been. They could say, I'm just not tech savvy. All these modern technology, these modern gadgets now, I'm just not tech savvy enough. And they say it with such certainty, as though it's a fact. But what if it isn't? What if it isn't a fact? You know, our thoughts are so powerful. They are so powerful. And they're so powerful that we rarely question them. We very rarely question them. We simply believe them, and once we believe those thoughts that we have, we start acting as if they're true. So if I continually told myself, I'm too old, guess what happens? I start believing it because it's on repetition in my head. So I don't take action on anything. I don't explore any new possibilities for myself. I don't learn new skills. I don't try to do anything different because I stay in my comfort zone because that's where I know that's the best place for me. All because of that one thought, I'm too old, that I keep playing on repeat and repeat and repeat. And do you know what happens then? Nothing changes. And because nothing changes, I tell myself, see, I was right. I am too old. But you know what? I wasn't right. I simply proved my own belief about myself. And that, my friends, is the power of thought. You see, the brain doesn't know what's right and what's not, what's real and what's not. It doesn't know, it hasn't got a clue. The brain will only function on what you keep feeding it. So if you keep feeding it the wrong information, then the brain's going to believe it. And that's what's going to keep you stuck. 6.5 years ago, I was 57 years of age. I mean, I can feel 63 now, but 25 years in corporate life, I stayed comfortable. I was successful on paper. I was successful to everybody around me, but deep down inside of me, something was going, something was missing. I was losing something of myself. And you know what? Thought kept showing up was, I'm not worthy. I'm not capable. Who do you think you are, Tina? You're too old. People don't want you anymore at 57. You're not technical, you're not savvy, you're not clever. And you spent your entire life doing one thing, and that was sales and corporate life. How can you change that? And it wasn't just my own head that was telling me that. I was being depicted by everybody around me telling me that. All I ever heard was people your age don't change your life. People your age should stay sensible and comfortable and not rock the boat. People your age don't walk away from corporate life. What are you doing? You're on a great wage, you're on a great career. What are you doing? People your age don't do things like that. Does that sound familiar to you? And Maybe your version of this is different. Maybe it's something else, maybe yours sounds like I'm too busy. Or maybe somebody keeps telling you, wait till the kids are older, love. Then change something. Maybe it's just your siblings, or maybe it's your partner, Or maybe you're telling yourself, I'll start next year when things calm down. When are things ever going to calm down? Or I'll start next month when I've got time. Or I'll start when I'm ready. When are you ever going to be ready? Or I'll do it when I have more confidence. Different words, same person. And do you know what is so crazy about this? And this is what I've learned. Confidence doesn't come first. Action does. So let's imagine something here. Let's imagine two women, all right? Both at the age of 57. Both intelligent. Both capable. Both wanting so much more from life. One says, I'm too old. I'm too old to change it. I'm too old to do this. And the other one says, why not me? Why can't I do this? Why not me? I'm not too old. One thought, one tiny thought, completely different future for those two women. Because the thought determines the action you make. The action that you make determines the result that you are going to get, And it's just crazy. Think about it. How many people start things later on in life? How many people start businesses in their 50s, 60s, 70s? Let's face it, guys, 50 is the new 30, I remember looking at my parents at the age of 50 thinking they were old. Oh my goodness, I'm 63 and I've never felt younger. How many people write books later in life? Like this one here, behind me. How many people do that? I wrote this at the age of 63. I've been planning it for 2 years, but I wrote it. How many people find love later in life? The evidence is everywhere, guys, everywhere. Yet we convince ourselves somewhere along the line in this brain of ours that we're the exception, that everybody else can do it, but we can't because we're too old, or we're not capable enough, or we're not savvy enough. Who depicts that? What evidence have you got for that thought? And what worries me so much as I've been on this journey of mine is that it's not that people fail. What worries me is why people never try. How many people reach retirement and wonder, what if? What if I'd done things differently? What if I'd started sooner? What if I'd started believing in myself? What if I'd taken the chance and gone on that long haul trip that I always wanted to go on and I didn't? What if I'd listened to my dreams instead of my fears? Because fear loves certainty. Fear wants guarantees. But growth requires faith. So where do you want to come from? Do you want to come from a place of fear that's going to keep you stuck in the same Groundhog Day that you're already in? Or do you want faith? Do you want faith and belief in you? When I look back and I look at this journey of mine, and this is why I want to help so many people globally about this, is because the biggest thing my online business gave me, it wasn't just income. It wasn't just the freedom and the travel and the flexibility and living the life that I own. The biggest gift I ever got from this was belief. Belief in myself. Because every small step that I took proved something to me. I was more capable than I ever thought I could be. I was more resilient than I thought. I was more adaptable than I thought. and maybe, just maybe, that's what you're meant to hear today. Not that you need to start an online business. It'd be great if you did, and it'd be great if you joined me. Not that you need to change your life overnight. That one step starts it. But the thought that you need to stop believing every single chuffing thought that enters your head, And I want you to really ask yourself something. I want you to think about that thought that's holding you back. I want you to think about that story that you've repeated so many times about yourself that suddenly it feels true and it's not. What would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? What would your life look like if fear wasn't making your decisions? What would you do if you actually had your hands on the steering wheel of your ship? Because let's face it, guys, how many people have got to the end of their lives realizing that they weren't in control of their ship, somebody else was steering it all the way? How would that make you feel? And perhaps the most important question of all is, what if your next chapter in your life could be your best chapter? So I want you to leave you with this. I really do. You're not too old. You're not too late. You are definitely not behind, because life's not a race, and your future isn't determined by your age. It's determined by the decisions you make today. It's determined by those thoughts that you think in your head. So choose a new story, guys. Choose a new story. The beliefs you choose to hold about yourself are so important, because every transformation of every human being on this planet starts with a thought. A single thought that says, maybe I can. Maybe I should. Maybe it's my turn, And when that thought arrives, oh my God, I hope you listen to it. I really hope you listen to it. So until next time, remember, it's never too late to start again. And if this resonates with you, then follow me, subscribe, like, share, read this book. This is me, but it's all about you. It's on Amazon by Tina Willis. And I am always here for you. I am always here to support you. So please comment. Let me know your thoughts about this. And remember, you are never, ever too old. Until next time, guys, take care.